Dear student, today I will be discuss the capitals and the Mughal courts related main features and activity related from the Mughal courts, not only in the period of Akbar but also the whole period related from the Mughal Empire. Capital city was the heart of Mughal Empire. Mughal courts were assembled here. The Mughals changed their capitals frequently during 16th and 17th century. Babur captured Agra, capital city of Lodhi, but still within 4 years of his region, royal court assembled at different places. Akbar constructed Agra fort in the decade of 1560s. Red marble was used in its construction. In the decade of 1570s, he decided to shift his capital to Fatehpur Sikri. Its reason was probably that Sikri was situated on the direct road to Ajmer, where there was a tomb of Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti. This tomb had become an important pilgrimage center. The Mughal rulers had very close relations with Sufis of Chishti Silsila. Akbar constructed a white marble tomb for Sheikh Salim Chishti near Jumma Mosque at Sikri. He also constructed Buland Darwaja. Its objective was to remind visitors about the Mughal victory over Gujarat. In 1585, the capital was transferred to Lahore to bring the northwest under greater control, and Akbar closely watched the frontier for 13 years. Shah Jahan adopted sound fiscal policies and accumulated enough wealth for his passion of buildings. The work of construction of buildings in monarchical culture was a tangible sign of dynastic power, wealth, and prestige. It was also seen as an act of pity in the context of Muslim rulers. In 1648 CE, court, military, and royal family were migrated to a new capital, Shahjahanabad, from Agra. Shahjahanabad was a new addition to the old residential city of Delhi. The city of Delhi had Red Fort, Jama Masjid, a tree-lined esplanade with bazaars, Chandni Chowk, and large mansion of nobles. This new city of Shahjahan was appropriate to a more formal vision of a grand monarchy. The central point of activities and a special occasion of Mughal court was the emperor. In the Mughal court, the king was always the center of all attraction during the daily routine and special activities. Every activity or festivity exposed the power of the king. The place of all courtiers was fixed by the emperor himself as he sat on the throne. Then no one was allowed to change or move his position or to leave without permission. If any violation was noticed, punishment was given on the spot. So Discipline in the court is very, very important. All had to follow norms in the court. They had to follow the norms of address and speech which were acceptable in the court. Even a slightest deviation in the etiquettes, the diplomatic envoys at the Mughal court were equally unreserved. The ambassador who presented to the Mughal ruler was expected to offer a pleasing form of greetings. The emperor began his day at sunrise with personal religious devotions or prayers and then appeared on a small balcony, the Jharokha, facing in the east. It was started with an objective and broadening the acceptance of the imperial authority as part of popular faith. The emperor used to move towards Diwan-e-Am to meet the primary work of his government. In Diwan-e-Khas, he discussed important as well as sacred issues with ministers. Finance matters used to be presented by the in charge officials. There were many forms of salutation in the court. They indicated the status of the person in the hierarchy. The deeper prostration represented higher status. The complete prostration or sijda meant the highest form of submissions. However, under the reign of Shah Jahan, these rituals were replaced with Chahar Taslim and Jami Bose, kissing the ground. In Mughal state, special occasions like anniversary of accession to the throne, Eid, Shab-e-Barat, Holi, courts met in full swing and decoration was made. Kings used to celebrate three major festivals in a year: solar and lunar birthdays of monarch and Nowruz. Titles and gifts. The Mughal emperors used to adopt grand titles at the time of coronation or after a victory over any enemy. When these titles were announced by Naqib, then an atmosphere of awe was created in the evidence. Full title of the reigning emperor with royal protocol were carried on the Mughal coins. The granting of titles to men of merit was an important aspect of Mughal polity. Promotions of any person in court hierarchy was known only by titles he held. One of the title of Asaf Khan for one of the topmost minister was originated with Asaf, the legendary ministry of the prophet King Suleiman. Aurangzeb gave title of Mirza, Raja, or his topmost nobles Jai Singh and Jaswant Singh. Title could be earned or were paid. Rewards included the robe of honor. It was a garment once worn by the emperor. It was assumed that it was a symbol of his vindication. Sarapa was another gift. This gift had three parts: a tunic, a turban, and a sash. Emperor also used to gift jeweled ornaments. Only in exceptional circumstances the emperor used to give the lotus blossom set with jewels. No courtier ever approached the emperor empty handed. He offered either a small amount of money as a nazar or a large amount as a peskas. Gifts were regarded as a symbols of respect and honor in a diplomatic relations. Dear student, today you will learn related main features of the Mughal court related traditions and capitals background related main features, starting by the period of Babur to Aurangzeb.